Hello, this is our Brother LS14 and I'm going to show you how to do a buttonhole, and that's stitch number 1. So 1 is in 3 parts. A does the bar tack at the top of our buttonhole. B reverses back with a zigzag. C will do the bar tack at the top of a buttonhole, and D zigzags all the way back to the first bar tack, which was A. I finish it off with a stitch 6, which is a fine stitch, which I will reverse into the buttonhole, and that's just to reinforce the buttonhole and keep it strong so it doesn't unravel. So let's just change the foot now. So snap off your standard foot and install your buttonhole foot just like so. So let me show you how to measure your buttonhole. So you have these 1/2 centimetre notches on the side of the buttonhole foot. Just sit your buttonhole foot alongside your button, and then what I like to do is just measure an additional 1/2 centimetre, and that gives us plenty of space for the width of the buttonhole to slot in, for the button to slot in into the buttonhole. What I also like to do here is add some interfacing to reinforce any flimsy fabric. This is a fusible, so it irons on easily. When it's cool, you can fold it over and then fold away the raw edges into and under the interfacing. Pin that down, and then just let's mark our placement for our buttonhole. So I've measured the button there, and now I'm just going to measure and mark the buttonhole there. And you can see I've not measured all the way to the edge. I've kept about 1 centimetre. So now I've got the markings. You can see that cross that I've made at the end of the buttonhole marking will go exactly on that cross hair of the buttonhole foot, so I can centre my needle exactly. So setting the stitch to A will give me the first bar tack. Stitch B will reverse a zigzag all the way to the other end. C will give me a bar tack, and D will give me a zigzag back to A. Do a couple of A bar tack stitches, and then finally when I get to that side I will do a fine stitch 6, reverse all the way about 1/3 of the way of the buttonhole, and then come back and do a couple of bar tack stitches. Okay, as before, let's just snap our foot down, and then we will just place that silver bar this way into the machine. So let's move the thread out of the way and pull the presser foot down for the hook to catch onto the buttonhole. Now I like to normally keep this top thread underneath the presser foot, but because it's a long buttonhole, it's difficult to do, so we'll leave it on the top, and we've got enough thread there to hang over at the top, at the back of the machine. So let's place our fabric in, let's give it a whirl, so make sure our threads stay at the back. We're making sure the hook is all the way at the top, so make sure our presser foot hook is all the way to the top, and let's place the fabric in. And we stitch. So we're on A first. Okay, so about 8 bar tacks. Get the hook back to the top, and we'll go on B. Make sure our line is centered at all times. Now you can see we've come to the end of our bar tack. out of our foot. We'll go across to C. So there was 8 stitches there. Let's go to D. And then we'll go back to A. And now, when we finished our 4 bar tacks, I'm going to go to stitch number 6. And I'll press the reverse button. And just move over to the side. And that's our buttonhole done. So hook to the top and let's have a look. So that's our buttonhole. Now you see on the buttonhole, and this is good, this has happened on this video. See how on the buttonhole the zigzag on this side is a lot looser than the zigzag on that side. Now it's wide because I did waver, so you need to practice and get that straight. So the zigzag is looser on that side. So what we have on our machine is this little special hole here, and that you can see it adjusts the width of our buttonhole, and inside there, it's very tricky for us to see, there is actually a screwdriver hole. So if I adjust that with my screwdriver,
Schnapps. Oh, on your iPad?
yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant your phone.
So now the buttonhole is tighter, we're going to give it another try. Let's hook to the top and remove that. And let's have a look at the buttonhole this side. So you can see there it's a lot tighter and a lot better. So now we've found that it's tighter on that side and looser on that side. So we need to fiddle it a bit more. So I'll turn that screw too tight. Look at this stitch. And I would say that was near perfect, and I'd be happy with that. And the reason why it looks a bit funny is because I've allowed the thread to get caught in there. So you have a play and see what you can do with your machine. Now, and the final thing I want to show you is how to open the buttonhole. Right, let's just trim away those threads. Right, so let's put the pins in the bar tack, before the bar tack, not at the bar tack, but just before the bar tack, so that we can open our buttonhole. It's quite stiff to do because we've got the reinforcement of interfacing and the extra density of lots of stitches in there. Okay, and make sure you watch your fingers and your hands so you don't stab yourself. But with a seam ripper, pop that in the, pierce a hole in the middle of your buttonhole and push. And the reason why you've got the pins there is because when I push as far as there, I can't accidentally tear my bar tacks. So we'll do the same that way. Go down, and the pin gets in the way and doesn't allow me to tear the bar tack.